How's it going, guys? Winner Kills here. Welcome to another online feature match from a recent tournament I entered into. 32-man online locals, so to speak. And this is my round 4 matchup against actually Legacy Crusaders, Benji from Legacy Crusaders. If you guys haven't checked him out, you should. I've done a few videos with him in the past, and I will link his channel down in the description below. So be sure to check out his channel, because he does make some pretty good videos. And he's piloting some Infernoid BA. I believe a deck he's pretty fond with. I kind of expected to play Infernoid in this particular matchup, and lo and behold, the first thing he plays is Void Apocalypse, but wasn't expecting him to discard Graph for Seer, whatever the play ended up being. Wasn't really expecting that. But either way, it will end up leading to some needle fiber shenanigans. And that's going to summon out Deskbot 1. And it's unfortunate I never got to see the Nibiru in my opening hand, or literally any hand trap. But it is what it is. So he's going to go into the funny plane that, of course, is going to pump out 3 tokens. And then alongside that, you do have the Deskbot 1 coming back, since 2 or more machines were special summoned at the same time. And then here we'll see the Auroradon destroy itself and a token to bring out O-Lion to go into that Savage Dragon. And that is going to equip the Auroradon as Chainlink 1 and Chainlink 2 O-Lion, bringing back a level 3 token. So you can complete, basically get your 2 free interruptions out of that little needle fiber play. Just 2 free interruptions at face value. And of course an end phase tour guide search. So hoping that this will be enough. My hand is pretty stacked as is. So I have a few ways to try to deal with this board. You know, I could activate Instant Fusion and bait out 1 negate and then summon blue to bait out another, but I'm thinking, why don't I just go right into the battle phase, clear the Herald, and then main phase 2, just go right into the Instant Fusion play. Because I'm not thinking about trying to just immediately OTK. I want to dismantle his board as efficiently as possible, even if it does cost my battle phase. So, as expected, that Borload Savage Dragon will negate the Thousand Eyes Restrict, so I'll link into Karibo, summon Blue Sky, and go ahead and add a copy of what should have been Purple Nightfall to get me Girsu, but I decided to go straight for Girsu instead. Was a tad bit of a misplay on my behalf, but here I end up linking off after sending World Legacy World Armor to the grave with Girsu. I end up linking off the blue and the Link Karibo into the Lib the World Key Blade Master, and that is going to get me World Legacy Succession. I'll link into Galatea to spin back his Void Apocalypse. I'll go into Dingirsu to spin back the Borload Savage Dragon. And here, yeah, there was a bit of a mistake that I made. If I would have set it up properly to the point where I would have gave myself an open arrow to summon back off of the World Legacy Succession to get an additional search from the World Legacy World Armor, that's what I should have done. So like before making Dingirsu, I should have used Succession to bring back World Armor to get secrets to my hand, and then link off, you know, the World Armor and the Dingirsu right now for Morningstar, instead of having to use my Indigo on field. So I end up doing it in like reverse order, and basically I should have ended my field with Morningstar Indigo instead of having to do these extra shenanigans. But either way, I'm still able to search out Whispers here as a result from the World Legacy's World Armor, and set Whispers, Secret, and Memory with Valor and Nibiru in hand. So board completely dismantled. I'm feeling pretty okay with where I'm at currently. Feeling pretty strong, you know, Resolved Pot of Avarice. That card, if you guys saw the previous feature match, came in clutch, but lo and behold, the funnest and most interactive card in the entire game. So I don't actually have any main decked outs in this build of Mekk Knight that I'm playing in this video and that I played in this tournament. That's a bit foolish of me, yes, but you know what? I was thinking, you know, it's a little, that turn 1 there I just had was too good for me just to scoop up immediately. So I'm going to play it out like I've got it out in the main deck, and I'm just going to play this game, keep passing back and forth, because at this point I'm also thinking I'm going to make it so that the only reason that you can win this game is because of that field spell. Otherwise, you can try your best to, when you think you're ready, remove that field spell and give me your worst, because I've got plenty of interruptions set on my side of the field. So that's what I'm hoping will happen. So he goes ahead and plays Void Vanishment, which he's going to try to, you know, discard Farfa here to attempt to search out something like, I imagine, Void Feast. But luckily for me, I do have a copy of World Legacy Whispers, and I misplay here. Again, I should have just flipped up Whispers instead of, you know, using my my secrets here, because he so happened to play that in the same column as a Mekk Knight. So I shotgun the secrets there on accident. I should have just used Whispers, etc., etc. But either way, Farfa does clear away the Morningstar end phase. It does come back. So again, I'm just quite literally hanging out here. I am perfectly willing to pass back and forth until I draw the last card of my deck, just so I can know and be like, you know, that's the only reason he won game one, because I'm full and ready for him to, you know, remove that field spell and attempt to try to, when he thinks he's ready, push for a game. But I'm also sort of bluffing, you know, like I've got an out in my deck and I'm just trying to draw it at this point. And I realize that's actually a pretty good tactic for the most part. You know, it can be a bit of a mind game. Not everybody's always going to fall for it. But if you think about it, if when they play the Mystic Mine, you're not, you know, shaken by it, right? They play it, and you just kind of just pretend like you've got the out. If you do have it, you know, you've got it. It's just a waiting game at that point. But if you don't, you know, you still act like you do, and that might force them, you know, like, okay, when should I try to make a push here before he draws his out that he has? Because, you know, if he didn't have an out, you know, he should have scooped already, right? Etc. I mean, that's just sort of my logic. It may not be the correct logic, but it ended up, you know, working a bit in my favor here. So again, turns are passing. It's turn 16 already. I have multiple Nibirus in my hand. Decided to ditch one. I've still got double Valor, Mind Control, Nibiru. A pretty solid field. As is. I've got the battle phase protection at least from Morningstar, so he's going to resolve Tour Guide now. And this is where things get interesting. So he's starting to commit now. He's going to go into Cherubini. And I still only have 2 monsters on my field, so I don't give him much lee room either. Or leeway either is what I should say. To make too many plays. So ends up dumping the Seer. Well, summons Jet Synchron first, and then summons the Seer, or resolve Seer effect, rather, to bring back Farfa. Farfa will activate, and I believe that is going to clear, at least targeting the Indigo here, which is completely fine. So this Indigo is going to come back in the end phase, which is rather important to take into account. And this is where, again, that pivotal moment of him deciding that he thinks he has enough to be able to go for a game right here, resolving not 1 but 2 Void Feast. And that's going to bring out a couple of Decatrons, just a couple of them. So 2 Decatrons and a Jet, and 1 Etondel, as you might have imagined. So Chainlink 1 Decatron, Chainlink 2 Decatron, Chainlink 3 Nibiru. So this is essentially where he's fallen into the trap, into the bluff. And either way, I appreciate him 100% not scumming me out and making me deck out my deck game 1, because he could have very easily have done that. But, you know, where's the fun in that, right? But either way, so the Rock will resolve, his Decatrons will resolve, dumping Nunku and Deviati to the graveyard. I mean, still as it stands, he still has plenty of room to make things happen here. He does have a level 11 token on his field, which won't matter, though, because I believe Infernoids are only affected by the levels of effect monsters on the field. So the Nibiru token, for a split second, I thought it would lock him out of summoning any Infernoids, but of course it is just a Link Spider away. But it is also a non-effect monster, so it won't make too big of a difference here. Now he has Deviati, and he's trying to take away my Whispers in Memory, or my Whispers and Secrets, and I'm thinking, you know what, I can't let that happen. So I'm going to hit it with the Effect Valor, and hope he doesn't negate it, because that means I'll need to hope that he doesn't tribute Deviati itself and burn a second Effect Valor. But luckily to me, he does not use the effect of Deviati to negate, and he does go into the effect, or not Effect Valor, the Doolittle Chimera, brings out Edgemp Sabers, interestingly enough, and I think goes for a Tondal here for a second time. So as it stands, this is a lot of damage, you know, for Infernoid to put out, because that Etondal will be able to attack twice if it does destroy my Nibiru token by battle, which it 100% will be able to do. So, of course, as you might expect, he'll run over the Nibiru token, Atando will swing again at 33, I believe, and then do little Chimera swinging in for a little extra damage as well, dropping me down pretty low. Luckily, I do not have to use any other cards that I have. He's going to use Atando to rip another card from my graveyard, which is completely fine. I'm just really trying to hold this effect Valor for a very, very important moment whenever I may need it. And now at this point, you're probably wondering, what's he going to link these cards off into now? I mean, what options do you really have? Link for, you could go something like Appaloosa, maybe, something like Avermax, whatever it may be. But he's going to go for Boral Sword, flips up the Mystic Mine that he set at the start of his turn, to think that he could reclaim the position that he had, but forgets about the Indigo Eclipse coming back in the end phase, which is honestly something that I would have done as well. It was a pretty long turn, and you forget about those lingering effects in the end phase. So Mystic Mine will get destroyed in the end phase because of Indigo coming back from that Farfa effect that was resolved way early on in the turn. I start things up by normal summoning the Girsu. I still got a World Legacy World Chalice in the grave and a Mind Control and a Purple Nightfall. And that is game. That is game plenty. So a long drawn out battle between me and Mystic Mine, but I'm able to come out on top. So feels good, men, on that one. Now I'm going to side here. I believe I put in Dimension Grounds, Cosmics, the Dusters, putting in Lancey as well, trying to find space for the Sanctum. So I end up taking out the Dusters and leaving the Cosmics in. Of course, I know he has Mystic Mine in there. So, of course, I want to have an actual out this time in the main deck, 100%. And, of course, Different Dimension Ground is fantastic as well. But I want to mention here a quick shout-out to our sponsor over at Imperium Duelist. They've just come out with some brand new dice themed after classic spells and traps. Mirror Force, Harpy's Feather Duster, you name it. They look absolutely gorgeous. Some of my favorite dice to use, hands down. If you guys want to pick them up, you can get them for 10% off using that discount code WinnerKills10 off, alongside other amazing playmats, sleeves, deck boxes they have as well, all linked down below. And if you guys are buying anything on TCG Player, do not forget to use my affiliate link. It's the first link down in the description there, and any revenue generated from your purchase, a small amount of that will go back to the channel, and it does help out quite a bit. So as you can see here, we're in game 2, and he's going to 100% want to go first. I kind of psyched myself out a little bit, thinking that maybe he's going to make me go first since he knows I'm playing Mekk Knight and does not want to give me advantage inherently by him playing cards. That's one of the most broken things about Mekk Knights, is your opponent gives you room to play an advantage simply just by putting cards onto the field. But as you can see here, it looks a lot different than what happened in game 1. Cherubini and Dante now following up with that Void Imagination, which seems like it has some pretty decent synergy in this deck. And I think is something that he was trying to make better within the strategy. So like a card he wanted to focus on and, you know, try to make the most synergy with. That was one of the cards of interest, you know, to combine these two particular strategies of Infernoid and Burning Abyss. So Needle Fiber will activate now, and as you can see, I've got double Different Dimension Ground, Sanctum, and Cosmic Cyclone in my hand with just one Indigo Eclipse. So my opening hand, not the greatest for going second. So you can see why I wished he would have made me gone first, because my hand would have been a pretty much almost a blowout if you think about it, as he does his standard, you know, Herald and Savage Dragon combos here, as you might expect. Getting Edgem Sabers out on the board, though, to save the other two tokens that he will need to be able to synchro into Borreload Savage Dragon. And it's also a little bit better here because both his Herald and his Borreload Savage Dragon are in zones that Cherubini points to, which will basically prevent them from being destroyed by card effects, which is pretty big. And I draw another copy of Sanctum for turn, which is just, of course, absolutely fantastic, right? I'm really glad I got to go second, but I was hoping that he would make me go first because, you know, I'm playing Mekk Knights, but maybe he had the call and would have just rather have tried to open full combo, you know, like he had game 1 to see if it was enough, which is, I think, perfectly fine. That's partially my fault. I should have had the read on that a little bit better, but yeah, I set 5 and I pass it over to him, hoping I don't die this turn because I really have no actual defense. The artifact play is going to be mediocre at best at this point since he's already established so much. I should have shotgunned the DDG during the standby phase, but I just didn't. But either way, he has the negate for it, and he's trying to negate it at this point. So, you know, I figure I might as well shotgun off the other one if it's really that important to him. And it will stunt most of his plays. It will stop him from trying to extend or link off with anything else. Because, of course, it will be lost to the banishment zone. So he's going to go into battle phase, swing over the Indigo Eclipse, as you might expect. Swing in with Cherubini and swing in with that only 1,000 attack Dante. Leaving me pretty low. And just trying to draw something good for turn. I really need a good draw for turn here. Now, this is a bit of a 9,000 IQ play, and when I mean 9,000 IQ, it was not a smart play. For some reason, I was thinking that if I were to Cosmic his equip spell, the counters would fall off the Savage Dragon, but that's not how it works, and only realized that after the fact. So, wasted a Cosmic Cyclone there. He's going to just figure he'll join in with another Cosmic Cyclone of his own. I top deck a Blue Sky with no column to put it in, unfortunately. And either way, it's just going to be game over. So we're going to go right into game 3 now. A pretty quick game, too. And here, now that I kind of get the gist of what he's trying to do here, I'm going to, you know, instead of, you know, him thinking right now, he probably thinks that I'm going to go second this time around. But that could be further from the truth. I'm going full on second, hoping for a really good hand, and lo and behold, I get that really good hand here. Girsu purple with Cosmic for the Mystic Mine, different dimension ground, and an Artifact Sanctum to round it off. Literally could not have asked for a better opening hand here in game 3. Felt a little bad for my man because, like, I don't know how you play through these cards, unfortunately, with a deck like Infernoid BA. And once the Girsu token hits the board, I'm pretty much free from, like, Phantasme and Infinite Impermanence as well, which is really great. So 1 card lib, that's going to go ahead and get me World Legacy Succession. Succession is going to bring back the World Armor as per usual, and World Armor is going to get me a copy of, I believe, the Secrets. Usually my first candidate to get off that card, and that's going to get me purple. And purple is going to be able to get me blue, which is amazing. I feel like Mekk Knights are at its full potential when it can resolve Blue Sky turn 1. And that is just, I think that's just 100% the truth. So I'll go into Morningstar with armor and blue, discard the purple, most optimal discard here. I was looking at trying to get Whispers perhaps, you know, for something like, if you had Void Imagination, but I've got Sanctum for that, so I'm not too scared. So I'm going to set 5 with Avermax. I'm going to leave that token on the side of the field to protect from early impermanences, evenly matched, Lightning Storm, etc., etc. And I shotgun the DDG in the draw phase. So any card, any monster, I believe sent from the deck to the grave, or from the anywhere to the grave, will be banished instead, which is obviously huge in this particular matchup. So he's gonna link my token off for Link Karibo. I forget about my own DDG here, admittedly, and I try to set up a card that's not even in my deck right now. I was a little psyched up, a little hyped up for how good my opening hand played out, and this is game 3, right? And, you know, I'm trying to keep my undefeated streak, so I make a little bit of a mistake here. I thought I still had World Legacy, World Chalice in my graveyard, which I didn't because I sided it out. But either way, I guess I deck thin a card and get a Girsu to my hand in the process, which isn't too bad. I also draw World Legacy Whispers for turn, which is huge. So now I can turn off monsters and spell effects. And there's that Infinite Impermanence, which apparently he had forgotten momentarily about the token summoning effect that Girsu also had. And so it was basically, at that point, he didn't realize it was a use it or lose it with the Girsu. Otherwise, the token comes to your field and then your impermanence is turned off. So he tries to use Link Karibo here. And I'm debating whether or not I want to commit to the Secrets play. But I realize if I do, and he has no other response, I can push for a game right here with everything that I have. 18 from Girsu, 24 and 25 from Purple and Indigo, and 3K from Avermax. So I'm just shotgunning at this point. I'm like, if he's got something for it, he's got something. Lo and behold, he actually does end up having the Void Feast, which is pretty unfortunate. And Void Feast is going to go grab, I think, 2 Decatrons in the Jet, which is pretty good, of course, to have here. But luckily, one of only one of the Decatrons here will be able to go through thanks to Secret, because he only has one open zone for the Decatron to resolve, and it is the zone, I believe, that the Deviati is in. The Deviati effect would be anyways. And going to just continue in the battle phase here to clear everything else out. Now, again, if my 9,000 IQ play would have worked, if I didn't DDG, I guess, and I still had World Legacy World Chalice in my grave, I could have set up a key play for this turn, but again, it didn't matter because DDG still did the job regardless. He gets to live an extra turn. Now, this here I will blame on the fault of EDO Pro, not letting me chain for some reason Artifact Sanctum in the standby phase, which I was trying to get Artifact Lancia. So now I basically have to make a split decision here, because if I use Indigo to move over to try to negate Deviati, he can distribute and banish and negate Indigo. So I sort of need to shotgun most of my back row right here now. And obviously Lancia is too late, so I have to go for the Artifact Scythe, which I did side in this game. So I'm just going to try to humor it and just go for the Indigo to try to get this behemoth of a card off the field. And as you might have guessed, it does get negated here. I'm debating also flipping up the Whispers as well, just to try to burn it before I lose it, but there's really no point in doing so. I'm thinking maybe Lancia at this point, but he only has one Infernoid engraved, so I just go for the Scythe here to, you know, potentially stop a follow-up that he may or may not have here. So the Scythe, luckily for me, resolves uninterrupted, and I'm able to hold him off a little bit more, even if it weren't for the you know, the mishap with the Sanctum there. But I guess, you know, hindsight's 20/20. I guess, you know, going for Lancia might not have been the better choice, because, you know, who knows what he might have in his hand here, that he could have just followed up and gone for an extra deck Reliant route, and getting something like a Needle Fiber play going, because obviously I don't think that is really affected too much by Lancia, but more so Scythe. So I think even though YGO Pro kind of stopped me from doing the play that I wanted to do, I guess making the alternate play, which seemed lackluster at the time, you know, watching it back in hindsight maybe seems a little bit better. So I end up running over a set Graph, and Graph summons out the Seer from the deck, as you would imagine. And then luckily Girsu can get over that, and I can swing in with more damage for Avram. Luckily he doesn't have Dante in the grave, so he's only able to bring back the Graph, which doesn't have that much defense. And then able to swing in with 25 and 3k off of my Avramax. Now, here's where things get a little spicy. Since I am playing now 2 copies of Lib the World Keyblade Master within the extra deck, I'm realizing something. I can get the Scythe into the grave, and I still have another copy of World Legacy Secrets in my deck as well. So if you put 2 and 2 together, I'm going to actually go ahead and link off the Girsu and the Scythe for Lib. I'm going to activate Lib's effect here and set another secret from my deck, which, you know, in standby phase here, now it actually will let me do it. I'm going to just bring out Scythe one more time and keep him completely locked from the extra deck for a second turn in a row. That's a little bit of Scythe abuse right there, and he says he didn't top deck Mystic Mind there, which is a bit unfortunate. And again, I guess that's where my play that I originally wanted to do would have came in clutch, because I would have stopped the Deviati from coming out, thus allowing me to keep my Cosmic for a potential, you know, Mystic Mind play he may have had. But either way, I take they take the match here 2-1 against Legacy Crusaders. I gotta say, it was actually a really good match. So GG's again, man. We should probably try and play again sometime in the future. And you'll probably win next time. But yeah, either way, I hope you guys enjoyed that match. The 5th and final round of Swiss will be going up soon, so stay on the lookout for that. The other rounds should be up on my channel as well, or should be annotated in the last 20 seconds of the video, or at the card in the top right, if I remember to put them there. So check those out if you guys want to see Pure Mekk Knight's domination through this tournament so far. 4-0 in this tournament, undefeated. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, WinnerKill is signing out. We'll see you guys in the next one. And of course, last but not least, I want to give a special shout out to my Divine level channel members here on YouTube: Travis Harris, Academic Thick, and Zors. Thank you guys so much for the generous support thus far. It is greatly appreciated, and believe me, it does go a long way in helping me do what I do. So again, thank you guys so much for the support.